In the sprawling cosmos, Veritan General Zorvan had been a stalwart of the battlefield for over a century. His indomitable spirit, his unfaltering leadership, and his tactical prowess had carved his name in the annals of Veritan military history. Yet the tide of time brought changes even the age-hardened general couldn't ignore. The advent of the Human Veritan Treaty struck Zorvan like a cosmic shockwave, shaking the very core of his centuries-old beliefs. It was not the concept of peace he found distasteful, but the insidious servitude it masked. The notion of Veritans, the race that had led countless fleets and won countless battles, bending the knee to the young and inexperienced human race, was a bitter pill to swallow. It was a disgrace that Zorvan, a symbol of Veritan pride and might, would not accept. The machinations of the Galactic Council for war crimes trials against him added fuel to his smoldering resentment. It was an absurd claim, a political maneuver by the humans to discredit and dismantle Veritan's superiority. The sense of betrayal stung sharper than the harshest nebula storm. Betrayed by the very council he had served loyally, sidelined by the growing human influence, Zorvan felt the foundations of his universe shaking. His decision came quickly. His pride would not allow him to stand idly by while his people were led into subservience. Nor would he bow his head to the hollow justice of the Galactic Council. The corridors of his flagship hummed with defiance as he orchestrated his escape. Commandeering 5 Veritan cruisers, Zorvan and his loyal comrades plotted their course, making a bold statement to the Council. Their departure echoed through the cosmos, a declaration of rebellion against the New World Order. Uncharted territories awaited Zorvan and his fleet. A new chapter in the Veritan legacy was about to be written, not in the grand council halls, but in the cold, unyielding depths of space. The narrative of peace spun by the humans was about to be challenged by a warrior who refused to relinquish his race's superiority. As Zorvan's ships disappeared into the cosmic void, a singular thought resonated through his mind. The Veritans had been first. They had been leaders. It was a position they deserved, a position they would reclaim. His rebellion was not just about evading a trial, it was about reasserting Veritan dominance, about making sure the galaxy knew. The Veritans were not yet done. The game was far from over, and Zorvan was ready to play. Within the confines of his flagship, Zorvan was not alone. He was accompanied by 4 other commanders, each a leader of a Veritan cruiser that had chosen to join him in his rebellion. They were the guardians of Veritan pride, comrades who had shared countless battlefields with Zorvan over the last century. They had seen the highs and lows of the Veritan legacy, had fought alongside Zorvan, had been inspired by him, and now stood by him in this dire moment. Commanders Vor, Cestus, Everan, and Ishtara each commanded respect in the Veritan ranks. They had carved their names in the annals of Veritan military history, their experiences enriched by their shared past with Zorvan. Their faith in the veteran general was unshaken, their loyalty unwavering. Word had reached them about the Orinthians leaving the Galactic Council. It was surprising news, but it gave the Veritans a glimmer of hope. The Orinthians were not fans of the humans either, their departure a clear indication of their dissatisfaction with the Council's decisions. When Zorvan proposed the idea of an alliance with the Orinthians, the 4 commanders were unanimous in their agreement. The Orinthians were a powerful race, their military prowess unquestionable. An alliance with them would bolster the Veritan rebellion, providing them with the support they needed. The Orinthians, for their part, welcomed the idea. They had watched the rise of the humans with disdain, their departure from the council a clear statement of their dissatisfaction. Zorvan offered an alternative, a chance to regain their dignity. In Zorvan, they saw a leader who was not afraid to stand against the tide, who dared to challenge the New World Order. With a shared vision of a galaxy free from human influence, the Orinthians offered Zorvan and his rebels a safe haven. They were granted an old military base on the fringes of the Orinthian territory, a place where they could regroup, plan their next steps. As the Veritan cruisers landed on the Orinthian base, it was clear that this rebellion was more than just a fight against a council decision. It was a fight for their identity, for their place in the cosmos. If you like this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for the next part. Now, In their newfound sanctuary, Zorvan and his commanders began to strategize. The next phase of their rebellion was about to begin. A rebellion not just about evading a trial, but about reclaiming the Veritan legacy. Zorvan, with his loyal commanders and newfound allies, was ready for the fight. The game was far from over, and the Veritans were just getting started. Zorvan and his loyal commanders were fugitives, but they were not aimless. With the Orinthians as allies, they had found a temporary sanctuary. But they needed more than that. They needed a base of operations, a stronghold from where they could launch their counteroffensive against the Galactic Council. As they deliberated their next steps, Zorvan set his sight on an uncharted star system. It was an area shrouded in cosmic dust and an asteroid belt, ideal for shielding from prying eyes. At the heart of the system was a blue star, around which orbited several planets ripe with resources. It was the perfect location for a new Veritan stronghold. The Orinthians were key in this endeavor. They provided supply lines for the Veritans, ensuring that they had all the necessary tools for survival. Encrypted communications were set up, allowing Zorvan and his crew to remain updated about the happenings in the Council and the rest of the galaxy. The move to the new base was made with utmost secrecy. The Veritan cruisers, loaded with their crews and resources, maneuvered their way through the asteroid belt. As the stronghold took form, a sense of hope began to permeate the Veritans. They had found a new home, a fortress from where they could revive the Veritan legacy. Meanwhile, Zorvan's gaze remained fixed on the human Veritan borders. If they were to send a message to the humans, they needed to strike where it would hurt most. The humans had always boasted about their diplomatic victories, their supposed integration with the Veritans. Zorvan decided that it was time to expose the fragility of their alliance. Striking at the heart of the human borders, Zorvan made his first move. His forces appeared out of nowhere, their surprise attacks leaving the humans scrambling. They would proclaim their presence, their intent to continue the eradication of the humans, and then strike at their vessels. These attacks were not about causing widespread destruction, but about sending a clear message. The Veritans were not to be taken lightly. The human Veritan border became the new front line, a testament to the rebellion that Zorvan had ignited. Each attack was a show of strength, a display of the Veritan military prowess that had for so long been suppressed. It was a reminder to the humans and the Council that the Veritan rebellion was alive and kicking. Zorvan, from his new base, was leading the charge, and he was just getting started. As Zorvan and his Veritan rebellion began to shake the foundations of the Galactic Council, the news of the new alliance reached the far corners of the cosmos. The seeds of distrust, carefully sowed by Zorvan and his companions, began to germinate. A sense of uncertainty loomed over the Council as they watched one of their oldest members drift away. The Orinthians, a key race in the Galactic Council, had always been wary of the humans. The Council's decision to broker a peace deal with the humans and integrate them into the Council had not sat well with the Orinthians. They viewed the humans as a threat to the old order. They were concerned that the humans, given their rapid growth and thirst for power, would soon start to overshadow the other races. The alliance with Zorvan presented an alternative for the Orinthians. Zorvan offered them an opportunity to maintain their position in the galactic pecking order. In a council dominated by humans, Zorvan's vision of a Veritan-led order was appealing to the Orinthians. They saw in Zorvan a leader who was willing to take bold steps to ensure that the balance of power did not tilt in favor of the humans. The Orinthians' decision to leave the council shocked the galactic community. Their exit, coupled with the rising power of Zorvan's rebellion, marked a significant shift in the political landscape of the galaxy. There were whispers of a new order, one that would challenge the influence of the Galactic Council. The Veritans, under Zorvan's leadership, were growing stronger. Their hit-and-run attacks on the human Veritan borders were growing bolder and more frequent. They were not just rebels anymore, they were a formidable force that the Council could no longer ignore. Zorvan's vision of a new order was not just about restoring Veritan supremacy, it was about creating a balance of power where no single race could dominate the others. He believed in a galaxy where the strong lead, but do not overpower the weak. A galaxy where the Veritans could thrive without having to compromise their principles. His rebellion was more than a military movement. It was a call for change, a challenge to the status quo. It was a symbol of resistance against the Galactic Council's passive acceptance of human dominance. The Orinthians, by aligning themselves with Zorvan, had shown their support for his vision. It was a significant victory for Zorvan, a step towards realizing his vision. It was also a warning to the Galactic Council that their rule was not absolute. As Zorvan's rebellion gained momentum, one thing became clear. The galaxy was on the cusp of a new era. The future was uncertain, and only time would tell whether Zorvan's vision would prevail, or whether the Council would find a way to quell the rising tide of rebellion. For now, the General, from his hideout in the cosmos, continued to plot his next move, watching as his vision for a new order began to take shape. Zorvan's rebellion was just the beginning, and the galaxy braced itself for the storm that was brewing in the far reaches of space.